So the agenda for today is, we're not talking about features this morning, and we want to specifically address the upgrade itself. So I want to give you guys some information to do some upgrade planning and prep, some details about the upgrade execution. There is some new upgrade tools that I want to cover as well, and there's some new deployment options as well. And then at the end, we will go ahead and open up for a Q&A. So the first thing is that there's a ton of resources out there. Microsoft's been blogging, we've been blogging. There's an upgrade manual that's up there on customer source. There's upgrade hot topics that are coming out. The Dynamics community has been giving information. So there's just a ton of information out there. So if there's any questions about the upgrade itself, there is just a lot of resources to tap into. There's a feature that if you go ahead and in your Connect panel on your GP homepage, you can connect right to Microsoft, and they're giving you, they've started now a new series. They were doing year-end for a couple of weeks. They're now out of that, and now all of the Connect options are all about the GP 2013 upgrade. And there's going to be lots of blogs and knowledge base articles as well as we've got a series of recorded webinars going through new features, and you can reach out to us directly. So the first thing that I wanted to go ahead and go through some system requirements. So there's some things that are not going to be supported anymore. But before we go into that, I just wanted to mention that Service Pack, the first Service Pack for GP 2013 is due to be released in just about a week's time, as well as the Business Portal 6.0. So it now is, if you've been waiting to upgrade, we typically wait until the first Service Pack is updated, and that is just about to happen. So we're now really ready to go ahead and just roll out GP 2013 for everyone. So one of the first things that you need to do is you need to make sure that your operating system and some of the components you're using is going to be compatible. So this is a list of the things that are not going to be supported with GP 2013. A lot of them are older. I mean, I'm assuming there's not much Windows XP or Vista still out there. But if you're using an older version of SQL, the latest version is SQL 2013, I believe. And you just need to have your Internet Explorer updated to something a little bit later, and you need to be on later versions of Office. So we can shoot this out at the end of this, but you just want to make sure that everything is compatible with there and that you're not using some of the older versions of some of the Microsoft products. And also what we're going to have to do is make sure that we have to go ahead and we have to check the version of the GP that you're currently on, because that's going to, well, depending upon the version of GP you're on, that's going to take the upgrade path. So when we're saying upgrading from 11, these are the different versions of GP 2010, and some of them just had hot fixes or service packs applied. So depending upon what version you have there, the upgrade path slightly varies. So the long and short of it is that we might have to patch up your GP 2010 to get you a smooth sail into GP 2013. And so this screen here is specifically for the people that are in GP 2010. So some of the things we find is that if we just go ahead and you check your version number or give us a call, we'll help you do that. Then we can go ahead and ensure what we need to do to get you into an automated upgrade. And if you're using GP10, not GP 2010, it sort of gets confusing with these versions. Again, the RTM is not going to work on the upgrade. We have to make sure that we've got you onto a service pack that's going to get you into the upgrade. And in the odd chance that you're out there with GP 8 or 9, it's going to be a two-step upgrade. We'll first have to upgrade you to GP 10 and then take you to 2013. Okay, there's also been some additional product changes. So some of the things that were included with Dynamics GP have now gone ahead and been put into some of the ISVs. So one of the most respected ISVs is E1. And so if you're using Extender, that's no longer a selectable feature for Microsoft Dynamics GP 2013. So what you'll have to do is just make sure you reach out to your account manager, and we'll have to go ahead and make sure we get the code and we get the upgrade you'll need from E1. Very, very similarly, audit trails and electronic signatures, if you're using that, we need to make sure that we've got a relationship in place between you and Merit Solutions. So they'll be maintaining that product moving forward. And also collections management. Collections management is no longer a selectable feature, but it's one of the additional products on the DVD. And I think beginning in June, that's also going to move to an ISV as well, and they'll be maintaining that products. So all of this is actually just good news because it means that these partners or ISV partners can really focus on building these products out. And you can see here that this is just the additional product screenshot, and I'm highlighting workflow for a SharePoint 2010. Right underneath it is the collections management. So it's just a little bit hidden. So we can take care of this for you, but I just wanted to point out if anyone's doing an upgrade themselves. So typically what happens when we do an upgrade is that it's a great time to look at your hardware requirements. Is your server going to go ahead and is it a good time to swap it out and upgrade your server as well? And oftentimes we find that is the case. So there are some things you want to do definitely to prep your server for the upgrade. The first thing is that you need to configure a test environment. So whether this is virtual or physical, that's really up to you guys, but we always want to do a test upgrade first. So we want to go ahead, if it's a new server, we're going to run the test on the new server. Otherwise, we'll just do it in the test environment. There's a couple of things that you need to go ahead and do before we do the upgrade. One of them is if you're using the CRM adapter, we need to stop that service temporarily to do the upgrade. So that just might entail a little bit of planning. And also, there's some of the tables, there's some additional tables that come in with GP 2013, and some of the tables get enlarged. So just do a quick check. I know it seems sort of obvious, but some of these things are just good to point out beforehand and make sure that there's enough available disk space. Okay, and so the upgrade itself is fairly automated. It actually takes just 5 clicks to do the upgrade itself. But most of the work is in the database prepping, just making sure your data is ready to be upgraded. So there's a number of things you just want to check for, and this just goes ahead, and we can do all of this for you. But if you're doing your own upgrade, I just want to point all these items out. The first thing is we need to script out any AConnect pre- and post-stored procedures. Just make sure that none of that is running. Just disable it for the moment, so this way there's nothing that's integrating into GP while the upgrade process is happening. If you're using payroll, we just need to clear out some temp tables or some work tables, and that's only in version 10.0 only. And then the other thing is we need to execute a script to validate the account framework. So this becomes very, very important in the upgrade. And I think I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this because if you've been using GP for a while, there's a number of different tables that do the account framework. And by the account framework, I mean, what is the general ledger account structure? So way back when you installed GP, you had to say the maximum number of segments and the maximum account length. And those are inside this 3001 table. You can see here it's 25, and then there's 5. And then what happens is that there's a number of other tables that reference this. And there is a potential in SQL for these to have gotten out of sync over time. But in the upgraded GP 2013, it has to make sure that there's integrity anywhere the account framework is referenced. So we just go ahead and do a quick check and make sure that the maximum account length here and the number of segments is consistent with the account length in this table over here. So that will just go ahead and make sure there's be no issues with the upgrade. Okay. And again, these tables, the structure is then referenced in some of the underlying general ledger tables. So we just want to ensure there's consistency there, just to make sure the upgrade process is smooth. Okay. Now there's some more things you want to go ahead and do to get your database prepped. The first thing is if you're using workflow, we need to make sure all the final approvals are in place. So we don't want to have any workflows in process. So we need to go ahead and make sure that they're all completely finished. If you're using any ISVs or any integrating products or customizations, we just either need to make sure we get the GP 2013 version of the ISV, or we make sure that the customization has been tested for the GP 2013. The files are about to get a little bit larger. So we need to go ahead and expand the company and the temporary database log files to accommodate the largest table. So SQL will actually grow incrementally, but it'll actually slow down the upgrade. So if we set these beforehand, then the upgrade can continue without having to stall to grow the files themselves. And then we just want to run the CheckDB utilities on the databases to make sure everything's in great shape. And the next thing is backup. I mean, it seems obvious, but you definitely need to make sure the backup is in place. So there's a number of different things that you need to back up. The first item is we want to back up the SQL Reporting Services reports if you've modified them at all. So Microsoft has shipped, previous versions with a ton of SSRS reports. They were modifiable. We want to make sure that they're backed up and not replaced by the upgrade. So this way, after the upgrade's in place, we can just go ahead and put them back in with the changes. We want to export all the modified reports to package files, and it's easier if we do it by product. And so in that case, what happens is that if some of the general ledger report files that we modified are missing, we can just install just that series and not have to go through all the reports. And also we want to plan to back up all the databases at key points. So as we're readying the database, we just keep doing a number of different backups. And then also something that's a little bit obvious, but we want to make sure that we verify the backup, that we make sure that the backup that was intended to run last night or that we just ran is actually physically on the server. Okay, so with GP 2013, you actually have some deployment options. So the traditional way of doing this was the rich client. In this case, what happens is you install GP on everybody's individual desktop, or perhaps you're doing it in Citrix, and so everybody gets the full-blown product on their desktop. With GP 2013, you also have the web client as an option. So you can go ahead and just install the web client and be able to go ahead and take advantage of that new interface. And then also a number of people very successfully use Terminal Server just to go ahead and give remote access. So when doing the upgrade, we want to go ahead and take a look at the deployment options because there's more options now in GP 2013, and you just want to make sure that you're taking advantage of any of the ones that might be interesting. If you decide to use the web client, only need to install the web client runtime on the actual host server. So we install just this on one host server and you're good to go. Okay, so there's a number of different steps we have to do in the upgrade, and one of them is we have to go ahead and upgrade your reports and forms. So in order to do this, we need to make sure that on the server that's being upgraded, there's access to the previous release application dictionary. So if it's not the original server you're upgrading, we just have to move that dictionary across. We upgrade all the reports, even if there's on a reports that do not upgrade list. So there is an upgrade manual that Microsoft has published, and it lists all the reports that need to be upgraded. But all the reports need to be upgraded, even if they're not, even if they do not upgrade. We just upgrade them all at once. And this is some of the benefits that we've seen with some of the early adopters that we've gotten some experience in how to do GP 2013 upgrades, and so it's getting a lot more efficient. And also that once you go ahead and upgrade all the reports, we want to make sure that you require the users to test and sign off on any of the modified dictionary upgrades. So before the actual go live of the upgrade, we want to make sure that we're testing those reports and make sure they're working. And once the testing of those reports is done, we stop all changes. I mean, don't modify the reports if you're going into GP 2013 after the testing. In this way, we won't have to double test in going from the test environment to the live. We'll just be able to take the dictionary that was in the test upgrade and just move it right into live production, saving a lot of time and a lot of effort. Okay, there are some new upgrade tools, and some of these go ahead and just let us give a bird's eye view into what's going on in the upgrade process. And so one of these is the DU install log, and this is actually kept in a certain place, and it's just telling everything that's happening. So you can see here that in this screenshot, it started the upgrade. It tells you the time, and then it just kind of goes through all the different punch items it's doing item by item. So this way, if you want to see how far along you are, you can just do a quick check. And then at the end, it tells you when it goes ahead and tells you when it ended. So in this case, it was upgrading Dynamics, the Dynamics database first. And the second thing now is it's now going ahead and it's starting the upgrade of the individual company databases. And this screenshot is just telling you where it ends as well. And this, if we use the information in here during the test, if we gather it during the test upgrade, it's actually great because it tells us how long exactly start to finish the upgrade process takes. And so this information becomes useful when it comes time for the go in, that we can just do some really targeted planning to say, okay, the system's going to be down for 2 hours, or the system will be down for 3 hours, using the stats that's inside this tool. And then if there's any, if there's any questions, is it running, is it not running, how far into it is it? Because it's just a straight shot through, we can just go ahead and monitor this as it's going along to benchmark the upgrade. Okay, so this is our AKA upgrade questionnaire. So what typically happens in the upgrade process, and I know I've given you a lot of information, but what we need to do is we need to make sure that we send this out to you to plan the upgrade properly. And it just goes through 17 questions. So if you go ahead and just fill it out, then we can have our system engineer go ahead and follow up any information that he might need to. And it gives us a lot crisper way to go ahead and estimate the effort that's going to be involved in an upgrade and making sure any of the third parties or ISVs or any of the components are in place just to completely go ahead and plan for the upgrade. In addition to this questionnaire, we typically ask for a copy of your dynamic set file, and we could just walk you through how to do that. And that file itself actually gives visibility into the configuration of GP. So between the dynamic set file and the answers to this questionnaire, that gives us enough information to efficiently estimate the upgrade. Okay, so the next steps would be to send across upgrade material. There's a manual for the upgrading. If you're not planning on doing the upgrade yourself, you don't have to review it, but we'll give you a pre-upgrade list. Complete the upgrade questionnaire. This will give you the one I just showed you over here to do the estimate. You want to contact your account manager to go ahead and design a project plan. So if you get in touch with your account manager, we can go ahead and find a time for first to do the test and then do the go live. And then we need to configure a test environment and test the upgrade. And then finally, we just need to go ahead and pick a date, and we just do a go live on GP 2013. A lot of our clients find that they do it over, Friday afternoon, or they do it overnight, or they do it on a weekend, just to minimize the disruption in the downtime.